The stage lights burned brighter than the sun for a boy who had never known what it felt like to be seen. 13-year-old Noah Daniels stood trembling behind the red curtains of Star Voice, the global talent show. His oversized guitar hung around his small frame like a shield. His sneakers, old and worn, whispered of miles walked and dreams chased. He could hear the muffled roar of the crowd. Somewhere out there, under those blinding lights, sat the judges, people who had changed lives with a single nod, or crushed dreams with a single word. Noah's heart pounded so hard he thought the microphone clipped to his shirt might pick it up. He wasn't supposed to be here. Not really. 3 months ago, he'd been singing on street corners, his soft voice battling the noise of passing cars and hurried footsteps. His mom would sit nearby, a paper cup between her palms, hoping that strangers would drop a few coins, enough for dinner that night. After his father died in an accident, the world had collapsed. The house was gone, the savings disappeared in medical bills, and school became a distant memory. But the one thing his father left behind, a scratched-up old guitar, became Noah's everything. It was his escape. His connection to the man he missed more than words could say. Every night, under a flickering street light, he'd play Hotel California, his dad's favorite song. It was the first song they ever played together. Back then, his father's laughter would fill the air. Now, only the memory of it echoed inside him. One evening, as Noah sang to a nearly empty street, a man in a gray hoodie stopped. He didn't say a word, just listened. When the song ended, he dropped a folded piece of paper into the cup and walked away. Noah thought it was money, but when he opened it, it was a contest flyer. Star Voice Youth Edition. Audition tomorrow. He laughed bitterly. Yeah, right, but his mom didn't laugh. She looked at him with eyes that had seen too much pain and still carried too much hope. Go, she said softly. Do it for your dad. So here he was, standing alone, waiting for his cue. The stagehand gave him a nod. The curtains drew back, a sea of faces appeared before him, cameras glinting like stars. The host smiled, but Noah barely noticed. His hands shook so badly he could barely hold the pick. What's your name, young man? Asked Judge Maria, the warmest of the 4 judges. Noah Daniels, he said, his voice cracking slightly. And what are you going to perform for us today? He swallowed hard. Hotel California by the Eagles. A murmur went through the crowd. That song was iconic, almost sacred. It wasn't something just anyone could pull off. Maria smiled gently. Big sigh. Good luck, Noah. The lights dimmed. He took a deep breath, fingers finding their place on the fretboard like second nature. The first notes floated out, haunting, delicate, and pure. Then he began to sing. On the dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was fragile yet piercing, carrying the ache of someone far older than 13. Each note felt like it had been carved out of his soul. The audience fell silent. Even the judges leaned forward, Noah's eyes closed as he sang, and suddenly, he wasn't on a stage anymore. He was back in the small living room with his dad, strumming along as his father laughed, and sang the chorus beside him. But in his mind's eye, halfway through the song, his father's laughter faded, replaced by the flashing lights of an ambulance, his mother's scream, the empty chair, that stayed empty forever. Noah's voice broke slightly on the next line. He paused, just for a heartbeat, and then something shifted. He wiped a tear quickly with his sleeve, took a deep breath, and poured everything he had left into the final chorus. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. The last note hung in the air like smoke. Then, silence. No one moved. No one even breathed. And then the crowd erupted. People were on their feet, cheering, crying, clapping. Cameras flashed like lightning. One of the judges, Marcus, was visibly wiping tears from his eyes. Maria leaned forward, voice trembling. Noah, I don't think I've ever heard that song sung with so much soul. That wasn't just a performance. That was a memory, a story, a goodbye. Noah didn't know what to say. He just looked down, holding his guitar tightly, as if afraid he'd wake up, and it would all vanish. Judge Brandon, known for his brutal honesty, spoke next. Kid, you just took one of the most legendary songs ever written, and made it yours. That's not talent. That's magic. Then something unexpected happened. Maria stood up, slowly, eyes glistening. Noah, she whispered, I think your father would be very, very proud. And before anyone could process what was happening, she turned to the panel, and slammed the golden buzzer. The crowd exploded. Gold confetti burst from the ceiling, raining down on Noah as he gasped in disbelief. He stood frozen, eyes wide, as the music swelled. His mom, standing backstage, covered her mouth as tears streamed down her cheeks. Maria ran up to the stage, and hugged him tightly. You deserve this, sweetheart, she whispered in his ear. Keep singing for him. Backstage, producers rushed in, congratulating him. His mom ran into his arms, and for the first time in a long time, Noah felt like the world wasn't so cold anymore. When the host asked him how it felt, Noah looked into the camera, eyes shining through the falling gold. "I just wanted my dad to hear me one last time," he said softly. Maybe now he did. The clip went viral overnight. Millions watched. Millions cried. The video was titled, "Boy Sings Hotel California for His Late Father. Judges Smash the Golden Buzzer." Within days, people all over the world shared his story, not just because of his voice, but because of the love and less behind it. Noah's life changed forever, but he never forgot where it began: a street corner, a paper cup, and a dream his father once believed in. Years later, standing on the biggest stage of his career, Noah introduced his band with a smile. The first song of the night, Hotel California. Before playing, he looked up at the sky and whispered, "This one's still for you, Dad." Then he played, and somewhere, in the music, he swore he